Hey, family. Welcome back to another episode of Whatthafiznuck.
How y'all doing, family?
All right, so we have Mr. Critical and Dr. T here today. You're on Whatthafiznuck, where we talk about different types of relationships.
All aspects.
Okay. And 9 times out of 10, we're going to disagree on how to handle relationships or if relationships are
I say
possible.
9 times out of 10. That's kind of high.
Okay. I said we're going to disagree.
Oh, disagree. Okay.
Look
Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
one. Look at this
Yeah.
one.
I'm thinking 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. We wanted to discuss parent relationships or caretaker relationships with the children. And you have a philosophy and I have a philosophy.
Yeah. My philosophy is you can't really be friends with your kids. Friendship is a natural thing that develops over time anyway. So um I don't think trying to intentionally build a friendship with your kids is recommended, because when you have a friendship with kids, it tend to become kind of um um disrespectful in a sense, because they take you for granted. Um they don't look at you as that authoritarian. They look at you more as their equal. And when the child look at you as their equal, you know, then that's when the problem comes about.
Well, I think there's a happy medium. I think anything in extreme is puts everyone in a unfavorable position. So I wouldn't say be friends with your child, but I would say you have to be careful about being the authoritarian. Like you are the authority because you're the parent, but you don't have to walk around as beating your chest because I said so type of authoritarian.
Well, we finna have a good one, y'all, because I definitely 100% disagree with that. I mean, I don't say you have to walk around as a security guard or a prison guard
Mhm.
to your kids, but at the end of the day, it is a boundary that have to be established, and not a boundary built on you my friend, we gonna sit up and go out and drink, and we gonna smoke and hang out together.
No,
That
no, we're
type of
not gonna do that.
relationship is not good.
But I think so. I have been criticized because I give my children space to have a voice. Okay, so I've heard on podcasts parents say I let my children um, speak their mind, and if the parent says do this or do that, they let their child agree or disagree, and
If
I
I
don't.
ask your opinion, you got the right to agree or disagree. But if I don't ask your damn opinion, then you do what you're told.
But I think you can still expect the child to. I don't know if it's do what you're told. I think it's here's what the outcome needs to be, and here's how I suggest you get it done, or um here's what I need to make to get to a finish line for me to feel comfortable on the finish line. And I feel like there could be an opportunity for the child to say, well, what about this, or what about this, or what about that, and or maybe even ask questions. I think sometimes parents believe when the child asks questions that's disrespectful, and I don't necessarily agree with that.
I don't have nothing wrong with a child asking questions for direction, or
Not
to
those
be
kinds of questions.
informed, or to be knowledgeable, if you're asking a question. But at the end of the day, it's like, do you allow your child, when you go and cook some hamburgers and that little bastard tell you he wants some spaghetti, do you go and cook some spaghetti for that little bastard, or you tell that little bastard, you eat what the fuck I cook?
No, see, and that's so I might not make the spaghetti, but I might say, okay, thank you for sharing that you want some spaghetti. This is what we have on the menu today. And you're hungry. This is what I'm cooking. Now maybe we can fit spaghetti in later.
Well, see, This is where the problem come in, because now we finna sit up here and explain my decision, what I decided to cook for you. Now I'm finna explain to you what why you gonna eat this. That's bullshit. This is what you gonna get. And if you get too disrespect, you get some of this.
Well, what? How is it?
Yeah, I gave him a good one.
Is you finished? Is you
I unloaded the clip. Yeah.
anyway? But I mean, like, what if it's even something where we discuss at the beginning of the week? So you bring your child in on the decision making. So hey,
Why
Peter,
why do you do that?
because I feel like that gives the child a chance to learn how you think. That gives a child a chance to flex
To
their
learn how
muscle
you
and their
think.
problem solving or their critical thinking skills
How
to
do that?
determine, hey, this is we gotta plan meals for the week. These are the ingredients we have, or we're gonna go to the grocery store. These are the things that we can do. These are the guidelines, and then we decide together. Like, I feel like
I
that's
don't believe. I just don't agree
providing the
with that.
child a platform to think and
No,
also learn how you think.
if you're gonna apply anything for a child to learn how to think, teach their ass how to budget. Teach their ass to
Definitely.
make a budget.
But the
Teach
only
them
way
how
you
to
can do
achieve
it
their
is by
goals.
bringing them
No,
into how you take care of your
that
budget.
has nothing to do with when it comes to cooking, for example. I'm not finna get ready and sit here and compromise and sit up here and explain myself why we finna eat this. Fuck that. Either you eat this, nigga, or you don't eat nothing at goddamn all. But do not
Well,
question what I
that
cooked.
could be the outcome, that the child doesn't eat at all, but I'm not going to come at them in a way of you do this like I said or else. I feel like it's still a way to have a conversation with, all right, well, this is what we have in front of us. Now, we can fit that in later, but this is what I made today. So it's a conversation, not
There
just
is no
do
conversation.
it's
There is no conversation. If I cook something and that little bastard come in and say he don't want to eat that because he wanted a hamburger, then that's his goddamn problem. We ain't finna sit down and talk about that, nigga. You either eat this shit or you don't. There ain't no
and that
conversation.
and that might be the outcome, that he doesn't eat when it's
That's
all
cool with
said and
me.
done.
But do not. But what the problem is, if he have the audacity to come and say to me what I should have cooked. And that's only because the door has been open for that disapproval of what that parent choose to do. And when a parent allow a child to have a opinion on what the fuck goes on in that household, then that's where the problem comes at.
I don't think it's an opinion. I think it's an understanding.
There is no understanding. What that bastard ain't working. He ain't buying shit. He ain't cooking nothing.
No, but he's still a person with a brain, and a person that should be allowed to have a express their thoughts. Not
Yeah,
necessarily that I'm going to agree with
yeah.
them
When they get
or that
18
I'm
years
going
old
to
and get the fuck
go
out,
along with them.
yeah, yeah. You
But
get 18, yeah.
I think the
You
home is
gotta
a
say
safe.
so then.
I think the home is a safe space for there to be healthy understanding and healthy conversation and healthy disagreement or healthy challenge. To say now, it doesn't mean that the child is going to get their way. It's just, this is how we have a healthy challenge. Oh, okay, you wanted some spaghetti. Okay, that's fine. We won't be having spaghetti tonight. We will be having hamburgers tonight. There could be spaghetti later, and maybe next time we could sit down and create a menu together with boundaries, because I need to add in my vegetables. I need to add in my, all my things. So I think that's just a healthy way to have the child to start thinking through problems and thinking about solutions rather than
How old
because I
is the
said
child,
so.
by the way?
When the child starts talking, when the child starts
Okay,
understanding.
okay. I can go for that.
Why
4, 2, 3 years old, 6 years old. Past 7 years old. Now what? He's questioning and challenging every
Well,
goddamn
now,
thing you do.
at 7 years old, we're not talking about meals because we have already built a trust and an understanding of
That's
how we're going to
assumption.
deal with. Okay, maybe it is assumptions, true, but I think it's still we have created a space where we can, both of us feel like we can talk about what we disagree with and what we agree with without feeling like I'm gonna get a whooping or my mom gonna go off on me or my mom gonna yell at
Fear,
me.
fear, fear is a beautiful thing.
I think fear is what has gotten us in the situation we're in right now, where people
No,
go along to
no,
get
man,
along.
no,
People
man,
go along to get
no,
along.
man.
No, because I feel like
Because look
I
at
feel like
these
now
kids.
you're altering. I feel like now you're altering people to move in fear rather than and move in a scarcity mindset, than rather than moving in
No,
abundance
no,
mindset.
no. What you're establishing is boundaries and principles and respect.
Based on fear?
Yes.
That's negative.
Well,
That's exactly what the opposite of what we wanted.
hold on. Let's analyze that. You say that's fear is a negative thing
To
have.
base a relationship on, to base
Okay.
how we move.
Well, let's look at society. What keeps countries from going to war?
Unfortunately, because
Fear.
we
Fear
have built a
of
society
losing
on fear.
everything that president has achieved, stolen, and accomplished.
Yeah, stolen is right.
Fear.
Exactly.
Fear.
And just because something has been done doesn't mean that's how we should continue to do it, because we can see how basing relationships on fear have gotten us in a scarcity mindset where you got to lose and I got to win in order for us to get along. And that's the issue. Why can't we say, all right, why can't we operate in like we have shared values, shared vision, and complementary capabilities? This is what you could do, this is what I could do.
That's
This is how
for
we can
adults.
both.
That's for adults. We're
No,
talking about kids.
but children are
18
adults
years
in the
and
making.
younger.
But children are adults in the making,
And
and we can't wait until they become 18 for them to start flexing their adult muscles. We have to equip them and give them the tools now while they're children to be able to know how to utilize them when they become adults.
That, but I'm
So
just
you
saying.
gotta give them the space as a child
Yeah, but
to
giving them
healthy conversations and healthy challenge.
giving them the opportunity to agree or disagree, right? So
Yeah,
when
you can disagree with this hamburger tonight and still eat it.
but at the end of the day, when they grow up with this ability to object to what the parent is saying or done or going to do, when you give them that comfortability to say, I don't like that. I don't want to do that. I think we should see.
Okay, well then that's why I say healthy challenge, because that's not healthy challenge.
Goddamn right.
That's okay.
That's gonna be one of these kind of challenges. That's what I'm gonna give you.
But if you don't ever give them the space to have to learn how to healthy challenge, because I feel like you said, 7 years old, if we have been learning how to have healthy challenge all the way now this child is 7, I believe we're moving on to bigger and better conversations of understanding.
Okay, well that's grooming. So yeah, you're supposed to groom that child at a young age.
So if
but
we
we're
cut
talking
them
about past 16, 17. Now what?
Now we're having conversations. 16, 17, now we're having different conversations. Again, we can still agree to disagree in a healthy way. I'm still not cutting you off. Get in there because I said so. It shouldn't have to get to that, because we have had a conversation about expectations.
Why do you need to have a conversation with a child when their job and their duty and their obligation is to do what they're fucking told? Period. They do what they told in classrooms and they don't say shit to the teachers.
Well,
so therefore it's okay to come home and challenge your mama and your daddy.
disagree.
I'm fucking you up.
I disagree, because I would tell a child, all right, in school, you have a lot of elements working against you because there is an authoritarian structure. There is a hierarchical structure. But
intentionally,
I would tell, unfortunately, in a lot of cases, and that's why I would tell a child, first of all, adults are not always right. Teachers are not always right. So I don't want any child to go along to get along and just, okay. I want the child to know you can challenge a teacher. Excuse me, Miss Jane. Can you explain that differently?
That's not a challenge.
Or it is. Or hey, Miss Jane, the way you just spoke to me made me feel such and such a way. Did you
That's
mean
his
to do
problem.
that? No, because I'm letting you know, did you mean to do that? So I have to give my child the training grounds at home for them to be able to challenge anybody in a healthy way out in the real world. So I won't ever say, "Hey child, do what the teacher says, hands down," because they could be wrong. But what I would say is, in the moment, don't create a fight in the moment, because the teacher will win. However, after class, or when emotions have died down, you need to go to that teacher and let them know, hey, such and such and such and such is what happened, and I disagree because such and such. I think that should be a conversation that a child can have with a teacher.
I agree. I think a child should be able to say that to a teacher, but at the end of the day, when a child come home, that child is told what to do and have expectations and consequences if you don't do it.
So how does a child learn how to think if it's just do as I say, or consequence, period? How does a child learn how to think?
Because a parent that's telling a child to do this and to do that and do this and do that and do this and do that is grooming and raising and inbreeding in that child how to maintain and how to
be a robot. to be a robot that just do what they're told? When do they get an opportunity to challenge, maybe even to lead, if they're always being told what to do?
Well, unfortunately, that's what their ass need to be done. They need to be told what to do.
I okay. To be, it's not even necessarily, in my opinion, it's not even necessarily I need to tell you what to do. I need to let you know that here's the expectations, because things need to be done in order for this home to run smooth, in order for you to be cool, in order for me to be cool, and for us to get in and out the house, for us to live
That's programming itself.
a
That's
peaceful life.
programming. Is that not programming?
Programming how? When
Well, you just criticize what I said when it comes
because
to
you're saying
robots.
do.
Right.
I'm saying, hey, these are the things that need to happen in this household. Now, this is how can we get this done? All right, cool. Do
See,
we have
that's
an understanding?
compromising. I'm not with that shit. I'm not finna sit here and rationalize and
I'm not.
strategize with no child.
Why
Because
not? What
if
does it
you
hurt?
if
What does it hurt?
because if a child know that they got goddamn it chores to do
Hmm.
and they don't do it, and I come in and I see it's not done, why would I want to sit down and figure out what the fuck why he didn't do that?
Okay, well that's after the fact. But also we have to understand that children are human. So I look at times where I go to work and I'm just not feeling it. And so some things may not go the way I had planned for them to go. But I also know that I need to have a conversation with my supervisor. Hey, can we negotiate the deadline, such and such and such and such? So what I feel is you can teach your child that same mindset that, hey mom, I worked till 10. It was a rough day at night. Tonight at work, is it possible that I wake up in the morning and do the dishes?
That's exceptions, but what would this shit happen every night?
Well, then now we need to now it's another discussion. It's not just a now it's another discussion. Hey, if you keep not doing, what do we need to do to
See,
help
that's
you?
compromising.
I think that's another way of critical thinking. All right, so you noticed every night you haven't been able to do these dishes on time. How can you solve that problem? Do we need to talk about a different timeline for you to get the dishes done? Do you need to go to
I
bed
think I
early? Do
think
you need to wake up
I,
early? What do you need to do to solve this problem?
I,
Because when they get out of your house, they're going to be up against things that are.
if they can't do shit in the house without having a conversation, how the hell you think they're gonna be able to function out in the real world? Because
But
ain't
we don't.
nobody out there to help them.
But we don't operate like this. Adults don't operate like this. Sun up to sundown. I'm on it. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do on time, every time. Adults don't operate like that. So we
Most
gotta.
the responsible ones does.
No, because you get vacation time. Sometimes you have to go in late. Sometimes hey, life be lifing. So you gotta let your child know you're not a robot, just like I'm not a robot. And sometimes I need some time, just like you need some time. Now, however, when I take that time, this is what I do at work to make up for the deadline that I'm missing, or the extra time that I need, or whatever. So it's still a way to help that child learn that it's not the end of the world, but you need to communicate, and then you need to problem solve on how this don't continue to happen.
Well, family, you all out here listening, hey, chime in, comment, tell me something, because I'm totally not with no compromising. I'm not with sitting down and explaining. If you know that you have a chore to do, and you know you got a job, and you know you in school, then there is no excuse. Because if you got three things to do and you're neglecting one, that means you doing the other two things on your time and doing it the right way. Now you want to come home and now you want to lag and now you want to do what you want to do when you want to do it. That's bullshit. And I'm not with it. So if you all agree with me, hey, I'm Mr. Critical. I don't take it personal.
No.
But I do know that a lot of parents out here in the world operate and think the way I do. Kids, especially when they get 15, 16 years old, it's a lot of going that goes into it, bringing them up.
Hmm.
But at the age of 15, 16, when they start working, going to
Hmm.
school, and they got chores,
Hmm.
there is no compromise. It's either you choose to do these goddamn chores like you do your job and your schoolwork, or either you give up the job and your ass just focus on schoolwork and home. Period.
And I believe those could be the solutions. However, the way we come to those solutions are not rah 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 because I said so. Do this and you
It
did that.
is.
And
It
that's
is.
where we
It
disagree. Then.
is. It is. It's I believe in consequences. First of all,
Okay.
I believe in routine.
Okay.
And if you can't keep the routine, consequences.
And I don't
There's nothing to
disagree with
talk about.
routine, but I also know that even as an adult, my dang on routine gets thrown off sometimes. Now,
Okay, there's exceptions.
okay,
And you
so
got to be, you got to be
in my
empathetic.
big age, I'm not on operating on 100 every single day. So I'm not going to beat down my children for not operating on 100 every single
Well,
day.
I won't say beat them down, but as far as sitting down here compromising with them, trying to understand why, because it's a simple reason why a child don't do what they're supposed to do at home when they can go to school and go to work. And they do everything they're supposed to do. But when they come home, they can lack and gladdygag. You know why? Because there is no fear of consequences.
Mm, I think I don't wholly disagree with you, but I think we're taking two different journeys to a a desirable outcome. So you just have one way of doing it. I have another. But at the end of the day, I think we both want our children to grow up healthy, healed, whole, and responsible, critical thinking, problem solvers in the world. I just have a different route to
Well,
get there than you.
how can they get there when they can come home and ladygag and bullshit, and then they know that the consequences is only gonna be a what? Goddamn conversation. Where is the fear at? Because if that's all I got to worry about is coming home and I can do what the fuck I want to do, then why would I even change?
I don't. I feel like if there's okay, there could be some truth in that. You're gonna have some hard head, and you're gonna have some people. One, you gotta know your child. Not every child needs to be parented the same way. So
That's true.
I was a child. All you had to do to say to me was all you had to do was tell me, "Hey, do it again," and or you disappointed me, and don't do that again.
Little
And
girls
that's
is
it.
easy. Boys is not like that. When a little boy know that he can get away, and when a little boy know that the only thing that's going to happen to him, whether he's at work, at school, or at home, that when he fuck up and he come home, the only thing he fear is listening to mama or daddy complain and talk about why he didn't do shit, and that's it. Well, I can assure you this much: that routine is going to continue.
Okay, well. I don't have full evidence on whether or not that works or doesn't work. Either one of our methods. I know that
I know what does work. I know when a person fears something and they know they get caught doing it, and then therefore they gonna think twice about that goddamn
then it
decision.
wouldn't be anybody in jail because
Well,
we know there are consequences to breaking the law, but yet and still we do it. So fear is not the factor. People.
men and women, that's different because they don't fear going to jail. No, for my past, you all, I can only speak. I'm gonna share some personal shit.
Why?
I never feared going to jail. Did
Mm.
I feel the consequences? No. But was I aware of the consequences? Yes. But what was the goddamn reward? Is the reward more greater than the consequences? Of course. So
So why
therefore,
would fear work in which why would you say fear works if you just said fear don't
because
work?
because 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 fear works. Because I don't fear going to jail doesn't mean I don't fear other consequences.
All right, well that's why I said know your child, and everything don't have to be cut and dry on do it this way or that way. You got to know your child, and maybe some.
I'm a cut and dry type of dude myself. I am. I'm Mr. Critical. I'm just cut and
All
dry.
right.
I ain't gonna play no games.
Well, I'm gonna say know your child. Know that they're people just like you are. Yes, empathy should be granted. Yes, grace should be granted within boundaries. Because I don't want my children. I don't think anyone wants their children out here lawless and causing chaos in the world. So no, I don't
But if
put
there's no
any
consequences,
boundaries.
if there's no consequences
Well,
at
maybe the
all,
definition of consequences is different. Maybe the way we see consequences is different. Maybe that's the issue.
maybe.
Because I do believe there's consequences and rewards for everything that we do in life. I always would say life is full of choices. Choose wisely because there's consequences
Okay,
and rewards to
okay. And
everything.
what is the consequences?
It could be anything,
But
but it
see,
don't
that
have to
the
be
but if the consequences is not explained, then
okay.
why would they even respect? the consequences.
Okay, and that's still a conversation like we started before. That hey, this is the expectation. Now, if you don't meet these expectations, here's going to be the outcome. Boom. Now you do have to follow through as a parent. Maybe that's the issue. You got to follow through with those understandings. But that's still an agreed upon conversation. Hey, if you do this, then this. If you don't do this, then this. And then you got to follow through.
Well, family, hey, you know what I always say? I don't take this personal, but I am the type of man that I don't believe in sitting down having conversations with a child and they telling up here talking about why they think they shouldn't do this and shouldn't do that. That's bullshit to me. So if you all agree with Mr. Critical, please chime in and let me know. Hey, I ain't mad at you. But but I do know that a lot of people out here do agree with Mr. Critical. Mr. Critical's point stance is there is no goddamn conversation. There is no why you did this. There's consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only thing that matters is the consequence. Because consequences um um what's the word I'm looking for that makes something gives birth to respect. Yeah, consequences gives birth to respect.
And I don't disagree with consequences. We just have a different way of realizing those consequences. So, all right, so we're going to agree to disagree.
Again.
That's the life we live.
I want you all to follow us so y'all can get a chance to see when we do agree. That's the goal.
Tune
when
in.
is these motherfuckers gonna agree, y'all? That's what I want to know. When they gonna agree?
All right, y'all. As always, it's okay to have healthy discussion and disagreements, and we're still going to walk away loving one another. And in the world today, it makes us say "What the fiznuck?" So that's why we're here. Talk to you next time.